Right, this chapter focuses on the Levites, their duties in caring for the tabernacle, and how they replaced the firstborn sons of Israel and God's dedicated servants. There's a tab in that one too, like the previous one, like Numbers 2. I'm going to show you in the field. First things first, the sons of Aaron, the priests, which encompasses verses 1 to 4. Aaron's four sons were chosen as priests, as we will see in the beginning of this chapter. Nadab, Abihu, Eleazar, and Ithamar. But, however, if you remember that, Nadab and Abihu died because they offer unauthorized fire before God. That is written in Leviticus chapter 10, verses 1 2. You remember that? Yeah, the God in the Old Testament kills people. Okay? Eleazar and Ithamar served as priests under Aaron. Okay? Two lessons from this. Serving God is a privilege, but also requires reverence and obedience. Think about it. If you are a warehouse keeper, and then if you are a airplane pilot, both of these job roles can make mistakes, right? But for an airplane pilot, the consequences are way harder than a warehouse keeper. So think about it. To serve God, the consequences of a mistake is severe. Jesus is our perfect high priest without sin. Okay, this is another lesson. Let me check the other thing here. Okay, second, the Levites are chosen to serve, verses 5 to 13. God takes the Levites instead of the firstborn sons of Israel to serve him. The Levites care for the tabernacle and assist the priests, Aaron's family, okay? Firstborns originally belonged to God. Exodus chapter 13, verse 2. Because he spared them during the final plague in Egypt. Lessons. God sets apart special servants for his work. And the other is Jesus as the firstborn of all creation. Colossians chapter 1, verse 15. Is the ultimate servant of God. Let me say that again without referencing the chapter. Jesus as the firstborn of all creation is the ultimate servant of God. Okay, let's continue with it. The census of the Levites, verses 14 to 39. God commands a separate census for the Levites, counting males 1 month and older. The total Levite count is 22,000. The Levites are divided into 3 clans, each with specific duties. All right, let's check each of them. They're broken down here, okay? So take a screenshot of this. Okay? Okay, clan Gersonites, there is this Kohathitis, Merari, sorry if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly. Moses, Aaron, and priests. Each of them has a leader. Each of them has duties. Okay, all of them related to the tabernacle. And they have camp locations. Total, man. I see. Really interesting, right? Only Aaron descendants, which are the priests, could touch the holy objects, as you can see in the tab. Anyone else who tried to handle the sacred items would die. Lessons. God assigns different roles to different people, but all are important. Jesus is now our high priest, giving all believers access to God. That is written in Hebrews chapter 4, verse 16. Okay, let's continue. Redemption of the firstborn, verses 40 to 51. God commands a separate census of all Israelite firstborn males, 1 month and older. There are 22,273 firstborns. Since the Levites replaced the firstborns, there is a 273 person difference. The extra 273 firstborns must be redeemed by paying 5 shekels per person. Lesson: God provide a substitute, just as the Levites took the place of the firstborns. Jesus took our place, redeeming us with his blood. Okay, this is Peter chapter 1, verses 18 to 19, right? Let's read all themes and lessons from Numbers 3. From Numbers 3. Okay, first one is God calls a specific people for his work. The Levites were set apart for ministry, just as Jesus set us apart believers for his kingdom. Okay, God's work. Excuse me. Oh, hold on. Sorry for that. God's work requires order and responsibility. Each Levite clan had a role, showing that God values structure and teamwork. Third thing, Jesus is our ultimate redeemer. Just as the Levites redeemed the firstborns, Jesus redeems for us from sin. Significance of all of this in biblical history. The Levites became God's official ministers for generations. Jesus later fulfilled this priesthood, making a new way for people to approach God. Okay, and here's the conclusion. Numbers 3 shows how God organizes his people for worship and service. The Levites replace firstborns, pointing to Jesus, who redeems us all. It teaches that God assigns roles, values obedience, and provides a way for people to serve him. Oh, I thought that I had to finish. Let me press the button.